Up and rolling again. Welcome back to the Point Taken podcast.
Or welcome shoulder.
Yes! I asked you not to do it specifically.
But I wanted to so bad.
Up top?
Yes.
Welcome back.
Shoulder.
The Point Taken podcast. Podcast where we make and take spiritual questions and, we just chat them up.
Didn't let us do it.
I almost said that from the pulpit today, but I was like, we chatted up, but I couldn't get the emphasis right, so I just said, subscribe on YouTube.
You couldn't say the slogan.
I'll do it next time.
Chat it up.
I'll do it next time. Chat it up.
Chat it up.
Well, I'm Hunter Wilson. I'm the host of this podcast, this wonderful podcast called Point Taken Podcast. Find us on YouTube, Point Taken Christian Podcast, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to get all of your downloads. Right here to my right, this is Andrew Cook.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be back again.
We love having Andrew Cook. And to the left is Pastor Josiah Shipley. How we doing, Pastor?
Hey, friends. I'm doing good. I actually like doing these. These are fun.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I love about this is I think every episode we've done, and to my left is Pastor Josiah. How you doing? Hi. I really like doing these.
I really do, man. These are fun.
That's a great
It'd be
slogan.
funny if one of us hated it and we're like, I hate doing this. I wish I wasn't here.
Honestly, really wish I was home right now.
Yeah.
I'm here, though. What up?
I mean, I don't have to do any of the hard work. Y'all were talking about, 3Ks and 4Ks and all that before we started. And I'm just sitting here. Nick's talking about 4Ks, and I'm just sitting here. I'm like, hey, guys, I'm talking to friends. Yeah, I'm talking to my friends. That's my job.
Well, we are going to open up our conversation today with the mindset of gratitude. It's always important to try and keep your mindset a mindset of thankfulness and of gratitude towards God, and that's something I've personally been working on, is whenever we know that every good thing comes from God. Right? So it is important to give thanks to God for those things. And to change your perspective, change your outlook, change the way you live your life to a life of gratefulness. So what's something this week that you can be publicly thankful to God about?
Mine is probably a little weird, but, we've taught at this church a long time, quit saying things like don't question the Bible. Only God doesn't have questions. The rest of us all have questions.
Right.
And there's no such thing as faith without an element of doubt, or it wouldn't be called faith. We know the passage, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. I am thankful to God, not just for teaching me, but reminding me of things he taught me long ago.
Oh, nice. So,
when Jesus is John 14:26, he's about to go, because, the Gospel of John, for the most part, is just the last week of his life. I think it's the 28 chapters, 20 of them are just that last week.
And chapter 14 is all about the Holy Spirit.
Right. And he says, I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. Don't miss that, by the way. And he says, the Counselor, the Holy Spirit, the Father will send him in my name, and he will teach you all things, and, Josiah, remind you of everything I've already taught you, because you're not going to get it the first time. Mm-hmm. So it's not just teach you all things, it's remind you of everything I've taught you. And I got some of that this week, and I'm so thankful to God, because I do believe, but sometimes I need help with my unbelief. And he revealed that to me in kind of an odd way, but Brother Jeff has been teaching on Nehemiah on Sunday mornings and Ezra when they came back from captivity, when the Persians took over the Babylonians and they came back and started building the temple and all that stuff. Well, anyway, Cyrus the Great, we can look him up in our little history books or on our laptop or our phones or whatever. Cyrus the Great, we know he was the ruler of the Medo-Persian Empire. We know that he allowed the Jews who were dispersed from Nebuchadnezzar to go return and build their temple. We know all that. It's a historical fact. So, you read that and you're like, all right, that's cool. Something that I can verify happened in history extra biblically is in the Bible. But then I'm even more grateful when I go read Isaiah, and I was reading this morning to a church, written in 700 BC, 175 years before Cyrus was king, and Isaiah 44:28 through 45:3 says, Cyrus, this is God speaking, Cyrus is my anointed shepherd, and he will say of Jerusalem it will be rebuilt, and he will say of the temple its foundation will be laid. we have Isaiah prophesying that a king of a kingdom that is yet to rise to power will allow the rebuilding of a temple that has yet to be destroyed. I mean, in 700 BC, the temple was standing and would be for another 120 years.
Right.
Till Nebuchadnezzar in 586. And I know all that sounds like wishy-washy, but my point is, the main point I'm making is, we have in the Bible Isaiah rightly predicting of a pagan king by name recalling the Jews to rebuild the temple and the wall before the temple is destroyed. I mean, that would be like here in Memphis for me to say, hey, President Jean of France is going to allow the pyramid downtown to be rebuilt when all the Memphians come back from Nashville. You would ask, the pyramid is fine, and what does President Jean have to do with anything that happens in the United States? That's what happened.
And then what? How many hundred? Was it
170 years.
Later it happens.
I am grateful that God has reminders like that in His Word. That's why I said this is weird, because I may have pastor in front of my name, but I'm just a dude, and I have questions all the time. I'm grateful for little reminders like that remind me of things I've always known, but they are afresh again. It's not a one-time thing when I was 12.
Right.
They are afresh again, and that just, it helps it from becoming black ink on white paper.
Fires you up.
Dude, right?
Fires you
up.
up.
It really does. It fires me up. Anyway,
I love John 14, dude, and it's talking about the Spirit, and it says the Spirit prays on your behalf. It reminds you. I was like, that's so incredible. And every time I read it, when I picture Jesus, he says, yeah, I'm leaving, but I'm sending someone for you.
Yeah.
And I just hear the Avengers music in the background.
Yes.
like he's Nick Fury. He's just like, but I'm sending someone your way. Dun, 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 dun.
That was not the Avengers theme, but
Wrong. Well, I mean, maybe not the theme, but
Nerd battle.
Yeah, dude. Maybe I'm thinking of Captain America.
you're thinking of the wrong thing, man.
Wrong.
Well, hold on.
Let's fight about this. Hold on. I might not be saying it
I don't even know what to
perfectly
type
on
in the
key,
chat. I don't even know.
but like I'm not talking about the Avengers thing. I'm thinking of one of them. Like
those of you listening, can you comment below so we can figure out if this is right or not?
we're talking Infinity War when Captain America appears behind the train.
Yeah. That's the Avengers theme. Yes.
No, it wasn't the thing. It was the
No, that is the theme. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, you just sang it
What was
wrong.
I singing?
You were. I don't know what you were singing. You were singing
Say it
something.
exactly how I said it. Or it didn't happen.
There is a recording, so
Yeah, so
there's
it
a
looks like I
recording.
was singing it right the entire time.
that will not be edited out.
That will not be edited out, and we will continue to prove.
Okay, I was just a little bit fast. Whatever. It's fine. I was a little bit fast. I didn't have the patience to do it right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Da-da-da.
Speaking of not having the patience, what are you grateful for there, Mr. Host Hunter boy over there?
Man, what am I thankful to God for, man? I'm thankful to God. I've been thankful about this for a while, but it hit me again this week. God is a very personal God.
Yeah.
And God is very faithful to you. And it's always the most incredible things, and it always, for me, just like absolutely wrecks me, that He is faithful to you and gives an abundance even if you're not returning the favor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I had to stop because I was getting stressed and I was getting worried about some things. And I said, okay, hold on. Deep breath. Who's in charge? Who's got it? But then I thought, man, God has really blessed my life, even when I'm trying to control things and even when I'm, not doing everything the way I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I'm not the most faithful this week. Like, I'm not the most obedient this week. And God is still giving in abundance. Mm-hmm. So His faithfulness and generosity in my life is incredible. And it's just something that I have to be grateful for, not even just that he's so giving, but that he does that even when I'm,
Yeah.
not walking right with him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mine is going to be the blessing of my family.
Yeah.
I'll say that. So, for those who don't know, I have 2 little boys. I have a 2-year-old and he's 8 months old. Yesterday, actually.
Dang.
And
That's
it is
fast.
just such a cool and awesome blessing to watch them grow up and to be able to give them. Like Edward's, my oldest, he's starting to very much comprehend. He's very sharp. He's starting to comprehend a lot of things. So now, we'll pray. Like at nighttime before we go to bed, we pray and just ask God to protect us while we sleep and good dreams, all that good stuff. And he's very attentive. He's very much. He'll grab my hand and he'll close his eyes and he'll say, "Daddy, pray." And it just, oh man, it melts me down. But at the end, he'll say, "Amen," and he'll say, "Thank you, God," and it is awesome. I absolutely thank God every night for that and every day. And he can be a handful.
Right.
Oh, my goodness, he can be a handful. But it's really, really much a blessing to see him growing up and learning all this. That's really cool. Very cool.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That fires me up for you, dude. I love your family.
We're fun. We are fun. Samuel's crawling around now, so that's nothing is sacred to him anymore. You can't walk out of the room. It's funny because we'll put him in his playroom. We'll put him in the playroom and just leave him there, and we're like, "Oh, I'll get some coffee or something," and all of a sudden you hear this. That's his fat little legs scraping across the floor as he's crawling down, and we're just like, "Here he comes." And he's just happy as a lark. Just, I'm like, oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Apologies to all headphone listeners right now. Andrew's worst take on ASMR there's ever been.
I have a funny story about ASMR.
Oh, no.
Okay, I hate it. Mary Love, my wife, loves it.
Are you okay for outsing her right now?
Oh, she doesn't care.
Okay.
She might, I don't know. She'll tell me later. But
You could edit it out.
yeah, I am the king of
Somebody
email
else
forwards.
likes it. Okay.
Yeah, so she...
Somebody in the comment section just asked, "What is AMS or thing?"
Oh, someone in the comment
ASMR.
section of the
Yeah,
video
they
we
did.
just
I'm
posted?
watching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the non-live video. we're doing.
Autonomic
Yeah.
sensory.
It's people whispering in a microphone.
Yeah, I knew that. They
Yeah,
were just.
okay,
It's,
I just
it's
wanna make
supposed
sure.
to. It's supposed to, make
It's supposed to do
tingle.
something, but it's...
Okay, got it.
Oh,
Again,
has anybody ever done that cracked Ed thing to your
Yes.
head and then the hair
Yes.
stand up?
Yes.
That's an ASMR
okay.
effect.
Again, I knew that. It was someone in the
Do
comment
you know what
section.
ASMR stands for, camera guy?
We're not
I
going to use
really
his name.
thought-
We're
not
going to
gonna-
call him Camera Guy.
Well,
for
I
real?
wanted him to look. I don't know.
Hey,
Well,
Camera
remember,
Guy.
Hey, camera guy.
I was like, well, you know his name.
we
We've
got to
grown up
call
with
him
him.
Nate.
I'm sorry,
Remember
cameraman.
From the first episode, I called him Nate by mistake.
You
So-
called him Nate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, someone said, get Nick. And I thought someone said, I think it was you. I said, who's
Nate.
Nate? Do we have a Nate here? I'm calling back to the first
Thank
episode.
you, Nate.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you, Nate.
Nate.
But anyway,
Cameraman Nate.
So Mary Love goes to bed before me
Mm-hmm.
this one night.
Or this random person goes to bed before you.
Sure, yeah. And I walk in to the bed, like she's asleep. I'm about to go take a shower, and I hear this. And then you have to do this. And I was like, there's someone in my house. There's someone in my room with my wife sleeping. So I'm like starting to grab for my gun. I'm like, who's in it? And come to find out, it's the ASMR video that they're whispering. Pastor, literally, this is what it sounds like. Today we're going to be talking.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah,
You can
that's
stop
what I
that.
heard. It was
was great.
terrifying. I was like, what is that noise? Who is in my house?
Somebody breaks in. Imagine this. Somebody breaks into your house to teach you how to do something. It's like you're asleep, and this robber comes up, sneaks up with the
Sneaks up
ski
behind
mask.
you and is
I
like,
want to
"Get
show you how to clean your gutters. Today, we're going to be learning about how to carve soap into different shapes. Have you ever wanted? And then he pulls it out. My favorite's a little ducky.
Oh, they're funny. They're now that I've gotten used to them, they're kind of funny, especially the ones Mary Love finds the funny ones, and then she'll play them for me. So that it's pretty cool. Oh Oh yeah, so that was
That's
my funny story.
fantastic. Well, today we're going to be talking about something very important. I think it's especially prevalent today. And this isn't just for men, it's for women as well. And the reason I say that is because it's the word honor. And a lot of the time that is associated with an honorable man. But keep in mind that honor should go to everybody. Everybody should conduct themselves with honor. But what does that mean? Like, what is honor? How do you conduct yourself with honor? How do you show honor? But
And
how would...
if I could real fast add to that, why should everyone be shown honor?
Oh, word.
Because when you said that made me think of another thing.
Yeah.
So I was the one that originally brought this to the table. I was listening to Ask Pastor John. Which,
it.
for those who don't know what that is
Pretty cool.
John Piper. He has a
It's my favorite podcast.
called
Second favorite.
second
Point
favorite
taken.
to Point Taken. But
He'll get there.
Yeah, he has a podcast where he answers biblical questions. Not too.
He doesn't
different.
chat it up.
He doesn't chat it up.
They don't
He
chat
does
it up.
not
That's the
chat it-
difference
that's
between
the
us and
problem.
Pastor
He doesn't
John.
chat it up. If he did, then he might be number one, but he doesn't chat it up.
That's right. He's yeah. So anyway, so the question that was posed to him was, "What is? How can I honor my parents if I don't respect them?" That was how the question was posed. So I just thought that was a really interesting idea, and I was like, okay, because I know my version of honor is you showing someone respect. You're showing them.
Honor and respect kind of go.
Yeah, they go
closely
hand
together.
in hand. But then with that question is, well, what if I don't respect my parents?
But you're still commanded to
But you're still commanded to honor them. It's like,
Are you commanded to respect them? And that's
right. So what they kind of came to is this. What he came to is this idea of, since we are all image bearers, not that we are all children, but since we are all image bearers of God, just by that mere fact alone, you should show honor to everybody, because everyone is an image bearer regardless of what they've done. So his example was, well, what if someone's a child molester? How do you honor someone who's a child molester? Well, you would honor them by not putting them down like a wild dog. You wouldn't take out a gun and shoot them. You would take them to trial and then let the justice system, which is based
electrify them.
Or is it euthanize? Is that the proper term?
Yes.
Okay, I got a thumbs up.
Capital punishment?
Yeah, I got a thumbs up from Nate over there.
It's capital punishment, but euthanization. Yeah.
Euthanization.
Yeah, I remember that because I'm a youth leader, and sometimes they upset me. I was
Okay.
Well, anyway, so that's where all this is kind of stemming from. So, Pastor, would you like to kind of keep this conversation going there?
I think you hit the nail on the head. 1 Peter 2:17 says, honor everyone, but then that's not the end of the verse. Love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the emperor. I think, as Andrew put it, honor is giving people the value and worth and respect that is due to them.
Yeah.
So what value, worth, and respect is due to everyone? Well, the fact that every single human being on this planet is an image bearer of God. Mm-hmm. And, of course, there is even an honor for creation and animals, but there is a special honor for human beings. That's how God designed it. But then there is different levels of that. Honor your father and mother. We can talk about that. Honor the emperor, which is incredibly interesting, particularly with who the emperor was when Peter was executed, which would be Emperor Nero.
It was Nero, okay.
Also the same one, as far as we can tell, that executed Paul, directly and indirectly with some of them.
Right.
So when it comes to honor and honoring everyone, as Andrew was pointing out, we got to think about, all right, what does that look like? Well, for starters, if everyone is an image bearer of God, okay? And yes, there is absolutely a biblical case for capital punishment. Genesis chapter 9, for the blood and the spilling of blood, blood shall be spilled, so on and so forth. But it's always been in equal scales. The point of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth is that it was only an eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth.
Right.
That if someone looked at you wrong or disrespected you, you're not allowed to kill them for it.
Right.
That there is an equal scales, which is one of the biggest atrocities of abortion, is that you're desecrating an image bearer of God. That's what's happening. That's not equal scales. There has been no violence that child has done to deserve that. That's not equal scales. When it says honor everyone, you honor everyone as a human being. When Hebrews 13 says, be careful to entertain guests. It doesn't say, and check to make sure they are perfect in their orthodox of the Christian faith.
Right.
No, that's not what it says. It says that some has welcomed angels without even knowing it. The point being, when people enter your household, there should be a hospitality regardless of who that person is.
Right.
When you honor everyone, you treat them as an image bearer of God, that they were created in the Imagi Deo. And that's how we honor everyone. We treat them as human beings, not as something less than a human being, which we in world history have done a pretty terrible job of doing. But
So
we honor everyone as image bearers of God.
I've got a question, and it's going to mirror something that you taught me to ask the question, to what extent? Right? So what I'm hearing is, and so far I'm agreeing, people being image bearers of God, intrinsically given by God, have the right to respect. Not respecting necessarily who they've chosen to be,
No.
but respect as a being, a living being who is designed by God, right? So,
And then you've got the hierarchy of that. So a being made by God, but an image bearer of God.
right.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. 'Cause
Yeah.
like a dog, like a walk. You see a dog, you're not going to go kick the dog.
Yeah, there's
but-
no doubt that there is an extra level of honor given to human beings and the rest of God's creation. Exactly.
For
In fact,
sure.
Jesus makes that point by saying, "You are worth more than many sparrows." Therefore,
Love
And I
that verse
think
and
the
that song.
question, when it comes to the difference between honor and respect, comes into what extent is that respect shown. So somebody who has intrinsic value as a human, who has decided to not care about others' intrinsic values as a human. So let's, for example, because it's the big one, let's say Hitler, right? Hitler, do I respect him? No, as a person. But because you said about the child molester, and he says, how do you show respect to him? Well, by not pulling a trigger. So I'm wondering, where's that line crossed?
the line is crossed in that honor is respecting them as an image bearer of God, and through that respect is also a holding to a standard that I hold all the other image bearers of God to.
Nice.
And when someone fails to meet that standard, I'm going to hold them and the people that they have persecuted, I'm going to have honor for them. That's not a negation of justice.
Right.
True.
That's not a negation. So the child molester Andrew mentioned, justice should still be done. I am honoring them, and that I didn't do this
Out of
unfairly or
vengeance.
unjustly or in the testimony of 2 to
anger.
3 witnesses.
Yeah.
From the beginning, it was the testimony of 2 to 3 witnesses. So a trial period, if you want to think of it that way. So the point is, capital punishment is not dishonoring, so long as it's done in a fair and just way. You're not dishonoring them. You are having equal scales. That is honor.
Right.
It may end in capital punishment or in judgment or prison or whatever. The point being is that you honored them by not doing it of own spite or vengeance, but doing it out of justice.
So you could say respect is the acknowledgement of their value, and honor is what you do with that acknowledgement.
Say that again?
So could you say that respect is the acknowledgement of, so in this context, respect is the acknowledgement of their intrinsic value, honor is what you do with that acknowledgement?
I would almost flip it.
Yeah, I would say you honor them as a human being.
Okay.
Okay. But how much respect you have for them is based on, that is earned. That's based on how they have treated other people.
Okay.
So I definitely would. But again, the honor we're talking about now of honor everyone is just the baseline. You're a human being. You're not an animal.
Right.
there are multiple layers of that in the Bible. Honor your father and mother, honor the emperor, honor your fellow. There's multiple levels of that in the scripture. The baseline one is honor everyone, referring to human beings in that instance. But that is not a removal of justice.
Yeah, and I think to add to your definition, Pastor, is when you say honor your father and mother, you're honoring the title as well. Your father and your mother, you are giving them that. There's that title. There's that authority they have. So you will honor that by not, your mom says take out the trash, and you say, no, I'm not doing that. I don't care. You're not showing the honor of the position of mother.
Right.
That's kind of where I'm kind of leaning my thought towards.
100%.
Yeah, and I would add to that, just like honor doesn't mean a lack of justice, it also doesn't mean, because there are some people maybe listening and some people I've talked to certainly whose parents, after they are adults, will try to use guilt to control them, make them do certain things. Obliging to that is not honor.
Right.
That's someone using guilt to you. Honor is respect of the title in the bounds for which God created that title to be used. In the limits, in the boundaries that God set there. So, when someone gets married, that's one example. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother. What does that mean? Authority-wise, he was under the headship of them. Now he is no longer. He has started a new headship.
Right.
And cleave unto his wife, and the two will become one flesh. So, if you as a husband or as a wife only adhere to what your parents want and not what your spouse desires together, you're not honoring your parents.
Right. You're dishonoring your own
You're
spouse.
dishonoring them. You're dishonoring your spouse. And you're dishonoring the bounds that God has set.
Right.
You can call that honor all you want, but it's honor based on what the outside standard that we already talked about. It's based on the honor that is set forth here. So when it says honor everyone, that is not a lack of justice. You are being honoring if you're doing it justice. When it says honor your parents, I think exactly what Brother Andrew said. When it says honor your parents, it is the position, the title that God has set there, that foundation that God has set there, and you are honoring that. It's just like, unlike one news commentator who I do not care for very much, I'm not going to call a president Joe.
Right.
He's President Biden. Okay? Why? Because I'm trying to honor the position he's in, regardless of how I feel, and can rightly point out the inconsistencies, the not adhering to the role given, to the error after error, to the lack of... I could point all that probably for the rest of the show. But there's still an honor for the title and position that has been ordained to be so.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right? I'm not going to get on national TV and call the guy Joe. That's not... We can point out failures and flaws while still honoring the position. And we get that wrong. Either we think that we have to blindly hear and abide and hold up as gospel truth everything that comes out of someone in that position's mouth, or we degrade the position to degrade the person in the position. And that's not right either.
Yeah.
So that's showing honor, right? So to show honor is to hold in high regard, or to give esteem, or to respect a position or a role. But to talk about the difference between showing honor and having honor, so the verb versus the noun, because you'll hear what's the honorable thing to do.
Oh, good job.
Right? And
nice.
I think that they go very much hand in hand once you have thought about it and once you've done that. So to show honor, is to do everything that we just spoke about. But Pastor, could you pull up that verse I had you bookmark earlier?
You had me bookmark Proverbs 4:25 through 27.
Man, can I steal the Bible?
That would be ironic.
Okay, where are we?
Thou shalt not rip that part out.
Yeah. That has Sharpie on it.
You said
That's
4:25 through 27.
Yeah, so this is Proverbs chapter 4, starting in verse 25. Let your eyes look directly forward and your gaze be straight before you. Ponder the path of your feet, then all your ways will be sure. Do not swerve to the right or to the left. Turn your foot away from evil. The reason I think that this verse is so great when it comes to honor is because it has a lot. It has a lot in it. So in other words, it says, "Let your eyes look directly forward, and your gaze be straight before you." I will go on and on about discernment. Discernment, I think, is so incredibly crucial, and to think about, to ponder and stuff. But then it says, ponder the path of your feet, then all your ways will be sure. When people think of strong leaders, when people think of honorable people, be sure and remember to think that these people, they are that way because they ponder the steps of their feet. Make sure you know what you're doing. Think about what you say before you say it. Think about what you're going to do before you do it. Don't be distracted looking left or right, but keep your eyes straight ahead before you. Focus on whether that task is like an actual task, like I'm trying to complete something, or what if my task is walk rightly with the Lord your God. That's my task. I need to set my eyes straight before me, not looking to the right at this temptation or left at this upsetment or distraction, but set your eyes straight before you. Ponder the path of your feet, then all your ways will be sure. Do not swerve to the right or the left, and turn your foot away from evil. So do not swerve to the right or to the left. What it's saying there is to walk honorably is to not be swayed by lies or by emotion or by other people's actions. But you for yourself need to ponder and discern what is the right step to take so that you can get to what you're looking at. It doesn't matter what Joe is doing, and that was the wrong one because that's kind of sounded like I was talking about him.
No, you are.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what Billy Bob is doing. It doesn't matter what this person is doing, right? Sometimes you have to do what is right more than what is easy, or even what's difficult, but what you want to do. And I think the honorable thing, honor and integrity work hand in hand in that.
Yes, well said, because honor is doing exactly what you just said. Integrity is doing it even when no one sees, no one is watching, and no one will know about it.
Right.
So integrity is doing it of your own accord. It's a self-discipline type thing. Honor is doing it. Well said on there. Mm-hmm. I think Brother Hunter once lovingly said, if you're acting like an idiot, it's because you're not obeying Proverbs. It's because you haven't read Proverbs. You haven't studied Proverbs. So the Proverbs, if you're listening here and you have never read Proverbs, that's why people call the book of James the Proverbs of the New Testament, because it's very practical steps, and there's you'll find like 20 of them in one chapter.
Right.
It's not like Paul who belabors a point for 3 chapters, or even Jesus on the Sermon on the Mount. It's like, do this and this will happen. Don't do this will happen. That's the book of Proverbs.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the book of Proverbs. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. There you go. Next topic. Yeah.
You have no
they
idea.
are bullet pointed.
You have
much.
no idea how many times I've prayed that verse over people. Man, trust in the Lord. Help them to trust in the Lord with all their heart. Don't let them lean on their own understanding. Let them acknowledge you in all their ways so that you can direct their path. It's such a beautiful verse.
Something I realized in the Bible 3 or 4 years ago that just changed my whole perspective on it. The Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, does not simply tell you what not to do.
Right.
But it tells you what to do instead. Those of you who struggle with not doing this sin. Well, that's only a very small part of the battle. Instead, focus on doing righteousness, and there'll be no time for your hands finding sin. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. They're always juxtaposed against each other. In all your ways, acknowledge Him as God, not yourself, and then He will direct your path. There's always a don't do this, but instead do this.
Right.
Paul in Ephesians, it's not just put away lying, but what's the next line? Instead, speak the truth in love. Paul doesn't just say don't steal, but instead use what you've earned to bless others. It's always a don't do this and then do that. When you read the Bible like that, it just makes way more sense, like as it was written.
Man.
Okay, so I want to grab that, what we just said. So to use my Bible curriculum, if we will.
Oh, nice.
We've observed it.
Yeah.
We've observed the Scripture. We've now interpreted it.
Okay.
Now, for those who are listening, how would we apply that to a real world situation? My immediate thought is an honorable man, and I think of dating. That was always a big thing for me was, how do I show this female honor? How do I make sure that I show her parents that I honor her
sure.
and honor them and their responsibility for their daughter? So let's focus on that example for a second. How would let's just say there's a young man listening. I don't know if there is or not, but let's say there is. How would we take the scripture we just read and apply that towards this specific part of life?
Proverbs chapter 4, 25 through 27. Set your eyes straight before you. Ponder the steps you're about to take. Don't swerve to the right or the left. When it comes to showing honor, right? Being honorable, showing honor. So let's say in dating, you have a responsibility to yourself and now also to that other person.
Right.
Right. As a guy, you have a responsibility for the both of you because you are responsible for that. One of my favorite verses is, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, reputation over silver and gold. I've had a youth ask me before, when somebody accuses me of something, should I turn the other cheek? Is it wrong for me to defend myself? No. Because a reputation is to be favored over silver and gold. It's incredibly important. Your name has value. Your name is worth defending. And so that goes into it. Ponder your steps, man. If you are going to do something, how is this going to affect other people's perception of her and her reputation?
Sure.
Right? So being honorable and showing honor and dating to that other person is looking out for their best interests, looking out for how they are perceived, looking out for what can I do to uplift instead of putting us in situations where people will say, can you believe?
Right.
And then you take the duck and you carve it like this.
Yep.
No, but yeah. What are you gonna say?
I think, the modern idea of dating is not found in the Bible.
Agreed.
Correct.
Yeah, the way that we operate it now. When we say courtship, when we say, betrothed, the way I think that we would apply that, is through this. Okay, what's the standard if I am to marry this woman? If I'm married to this guy? Well, let's just start with the men. Maybe one of the most difficult verses in the Bible to obey. Husbands, love your wives. Oh, great, that's easy. Just as.
You love yourself.
Or worse. Husbands, love your wives.
Next part.
Just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her.
Man.
Okay. Do you remember? Did Jesus die for the church before or after you said you were sorry? Did Jesus die for the church before or after you betrayed him?
Wow.
Sacrifice, we say it all the time here at Witten. Love is what? Sacrifice, not a feeling. If you think love is a feeling, then on the days where you don't feel like you love your wife, in your logic, you don't. Whereas in reality, you know you do, you just don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Same with God. If you think that you're a Christian when you feel like you love God, well, then half the week, I guess I don't love God.
Yeah.
Right, because I don't always feel that way. Sacrifice. The real way is this. Can you substitute what you want, what you desire, for what the other person wants or desires? Because if you can't and are unwilling to do that, you have no business continuing down the path that leads to marriage. If you are unwilling to sacrifice your wants, your desires, then that's not love. And you might as well cut it off now. So real application to honor here is, all right, if that's the standard, that doesn't just magically happen the day I said I do on either side. That's not how it works. If the standard is love your wife just as Christ loved the church, and you are unwilling to sacrifice for said person, you are wasting both your time.
Yep.
And that would not be honorable.
Are you honest, and to what extent? This is where integrity comes in. Is there something that you could say or something that you could do when that other person is not around that they would never, ever, ever find out about? Would you do that wrong thing? Right? The integrity of doing what is right when nobody's looking. And it's not even just when nobody's looking. Doing what is right when there is no possible chance of a consequence that comes from anybody but God.
Right.
Right. When I can look at an action and say, the only person who could ever punish me for this is God himself. Do you do it or do you decide not to? Right? It's that honesty, and it's that, and that's where I find the root of honor is integrity, in my opinion, is to say that an honorable man is a man who will tell you the truth even when there is no benefit to him. Even when there's no,
Well said.
What's the opposite of benefit? My thesaurus isn't working.
Opposite of benefit.
My mom's going to comment on this video.
Yes, she is.
Dang it.
The opposite of benefit is
I wanna
negative
say
side effect.
hindrance, but-
No, the opposite of benefit. If you hadn't asked, we could have said, "This is pathetic."
I know,
The opposite of benefit is a
Isn't it a hindrance?
negative effect.
A downfall. Let's just say a downfall. So
No matter what you said for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to think of a better word. So
Thank
keep
you.
going.
I'm
So,
thinking it's hindrance.
not even just when there's no benefit to you, but when there is a downfall for
An
you.
unbenefit. All right, Nate, the
Doing
camera
what is
guy.
right. What?
What's the opposite of benefit?
I was thinking cost.
Yeah.
Cost. Nate, the camera guy, says cost.
Oh, okay, so benefit
Hindrance.
and cost.
I'm thinking hindrance.
I'm not going to look it up.
An
I'm not.
hindrance is like stopping you from moving forward.
A benefit would help you.
A
move forward.
toll. It's the same thing as cost, but it's not his word; it's mine.
Are we
So
going to
wanna
tell
go with
everybody that his real name is Nick, or are we going to keep saying Nate?
Nate.
All right, Nate.
Bartholomew, the camera guy.
Nate, you have two jobs. One is to do the camera. The other is to look up stuff when we're too stupid to figure it out. So could you please tell us what the
Disadvantage. On
disadvantage?
Wait, didn't I say that? No.
No.
I got
you
excited
didn't.
because I thought I did.
I might have-
Let's roll
No.
back the tape. Hey,
No, none of you
can you
got it.
edit me
No.
saying that?
Disadvantage.
No, I cannot.
Is that possible?
No, I can't.
Like
Remember,
right now, if I hold up my hand, will it say disadvantage right here?
His lack of faith in me in the last episode about the deep fakes. I
I just didn't think
can't-
you had the technology. It's
I
not
have the
ability.
I still like episode
ability.
1 when he did this and you put the words in between his hands, like point taking podcast.
Oh yeah, he's like, we're just gonna be right here. It's gonna be right here. Boom. No, it's not up there.
Sorry. Anyway,
Now I forgot
integrity.
the word. Was it disadvantage?
Disadvantage.
Okay.
Integrity is doing what
Thank you,
is
Nate.
right. Integrity is doing what is right, even when there is no advantage to you, and there may be, in fact, a disadvantage to you or to other people, but it's what is correct, is honorable, is honest, is right.
Did you notice he changed the word
What's he-
benefit to advantage?
That's exactly right, because I was going to forget it otherwise. My brain doesn't work
I
today.
had a completely.
We just
random
lost
thought.
a subscriber. Her name is Karina Wilson.
Oh no, I had a thought about Nate.
Oh.
For some reason, I thought of Nate the mailman. And then, have you ever seen Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes.
Get the mailman! I don't know why that just popped in my head, but so while you're making that wonderful point taken by the way, I'm thinking of that scene. Get the mailman! And that was I couldn't do it. Mailman, mail people. I heard we might have a listener question.
We do.
Wow. That transition was so cool.
It's
That
a
was
great
amazing.
transition.
That was
I
amazing.
mean,
Thank you.
Don't tell Andrew this. It was okay. It wasn't the best.
I'm sorry. I should have let you do
I thought it
that.
was
Oh wait,
actually
did you
good.
hear me?
Yeah, I
you
thought it was
hear
actually good.
No, it was pretty good.
I have the listener question. Am I? Do I read
I'm
it
so
now?
curious to know
Pizza dough.
what. Okay. How to make? She's listening to how to make pizzas. Wants to fall asleep.
This has gone so far over my head.
Oh, sorry, you missed his little ASMR bit. He did.
Oh, did you just do one?
Yeah, I went, you've got to grab. And then he started laughing.
Pizza dough. Okay, got it.
All right, so we had a listener question,
Yes, listener
and
question.
we will recap and go back over honor and integrity at the end of the episode.
Absolutely.
What would be a good defense when people say? By the way, how can you type in these questions? How do people send these in? I don't even know.
Oh well, it's simple, really.
Yeah.
If you wanted to send us a question, you have anything that you want to say, you can always email us at listenpointtaken@gmail.com. Listenpointtaken@gmail.com.
Oh, so cool.
We will read it. We'll say it and we'll chat about it. Another way you can do it, comment on the video on the YouTube channel. So drop below. Tell us something you're thankful for. Tell us something you're
oh yeah,
grateful
that'd be fun
for.
to read. I promise I'll read
Yeah,
those.
we'll read those. We'll talk to
Once
you about
Andrew
it.
shows me how.
We all want to learn how to be grateful in our walks weekly and daily, and we'll also catch your questions on there. Last way you can do it, log on to Instagram, Point Taken Christian Podcast on Instagram, and send us a direct message.
Awesome. Well, this listener sent in this question. What would be a good defense when people say, oh my God, and they're not using the Lord's name in vain, or so they say they're not, because they're not thinking of Yahweh when they say it. So I'll read that again. What's a good defense when people say, oh my God, and they say they're not really using the Lord's name in vain because they're not thinking of Yahweh, the true God, when they say it?
So the first question, I guess, is it okay or is it not okay to say, oh my God?
Okay.
My initial reaction is, regardless of what you're thinking of, what?
Sorry, I thought you were going to say, well, my initial reaction is, oh my God. Continue.
It's not so much that you're not thinking about Yahweh as much as you're still. It's almost the example that you're setting. If you, a Christian who is very in your circles of friends, you're very a devout. You're the religious kid. You're the one that does all the right things. You're the goody two shoes, and you start running around going, "Oh my God," like that all the time. Regardless of your intent, I feel that you're going to cause the other people to go, oh, well, they can say it, I can say it. If the super religious person can say it, then obviously I, the non-religious person, can say it because they don't seem to care. So me personally, I just shy away from ever saying anything that would imply that I'm using the Judeo-Christian God's name in vain. Sorry to use that term, but there you go.
Dude, I mean, I totally get that. To be honest, I've never really sat down and chewed this question out. Because I know the exclamation, Jesus Christ.
I hate that.
I've always hated that. Like that one, never been a fan of that one because it's so very, very, very blatant.
You know what I do to fix it? When it was like someone says that, I'm like, is Lord. I just throw that in there, and they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. It's cool.
Yeah.
He is. He's awesome.
So, I mean, that one has always been very obvious to me. Is, okay, that is wrong. No, I'm not going to. I'm going to put some more respect on the name of my God.
Honor.
Right? Correct. But saying, oh, my God, this personally something I've never felt. I will be, if you have scripture or a point, I will be easily swayed. But it's never something personally that I've sat down and thought, this isn't right. Or this isn't right to say, or this convicts me. And I guess the reason for it currently is just because sometimes in language you will have colloquial terms or exclamations that you will use, and you're not thinking of just like, man, I'm going to disrespect the name of my God, right? And to me, his name is not just God, it is a title. But yeah, that I've never sat down and said, should I stop saying that? Should I? And so that's why I find this a very interesting question, because I'm more than willing to stop saying it, but I've never sat down and chewed that out. Is it more than just a colloquial term? Is it disrespectful to Jesus to say, oh my God?
I would say that I would lean towards, it's probably not something we should be saying. Okay. The do not use the Lord's name in vain, speaking of the commandments, is, of course, speaking of his name, Yahweh. Of course, we've talked about that. That's what that means. And, give the glory that is due his name. Yeah, is a quote from Isaiah. Give the glory, I think it's Isaiah, due his name. I would say, though, that if we're going to say, oh my God, okay, what are we saying that for? Okay, when we say that, are we actually saying, when I used to get frustrated, I quit doing it, I would say, God bless.
Right.
Now, am I actually asking God to bless something?
Correct.
No.
Yeah.
No. In fact, what I'm really doing, if I'm being honest, is I'm just saying that to not tell God to do something else. That's really what's happening. So I would probably lean towards probably shouldn't. If we're not going to say Jesus Christ, which I don't think we should, then what is the difference between that and saying, oh my God? I would say that for the overwhelming majority of people, we are not purposely trying to take the Lord's name in vain or anything like that. I would probably put it in the category of not overtly in the hearts of most people sinful, but in the category of it may not be sinful, but probably shouldn't do it. You know that category in Hebrews where it says, lay aside every sin and weight that so easily ensnares us? Well, what does that tell us? That there's something that weighs you down that's not in and of itself sinful. And I'm not saying this falls directly in that category. We could talk about avoid the appearance of evil. We could do all that. But I would just say as a general rule of thumb, if I'm unsure, I'm going to err on the side of not calling on God for spilling my sweet tea on the floorboard of the car. That would be kind of how I would approach that. If I have any doubt, I'm going to err on the side of more honor to his name than less. That's where I would err. But I mean, as far as the bigger question behind it is it okay? Let's pretend that we all agreed that, you shouldn't say that. And then the person says, right, but I wasn't thinking that way when I said it. Well, that's kind of a dangerous way to, if we're going to take that to its furthest thought, it's kind of a dangerous way of, Hunter, you're a stupid idiot and no one loves you. Well, I wasn't thinking that when I said it. Right, well, right, but your language, what comes out of your mouth, the book of James makes it incredibly clear.
Words have meaning. Words have power.
They have meaning. They have power.
The tongue is like a wildfire.
Dude, he doesn't mince any words when he. Yeah, and I was like, all right, I know you wrote this down, but your tongue is a fire on mine because right now you are destroying me right now.
Yeah.
So I would kind of lean towards, if you're a Christian, probably not the best. I'm not going to say, Hebrews 9:7. This is not what Hebrews 9:7 says, by the way. Directly says, do not say, oh my God. But I do think, giving the glory due his name, we probably should not be calling on that name for trivial reasons. That would be where I lean. But, I'm guilty of it, same as everyone else. But.
Right. I have a really insufferable line of questioning.
Oh, good.
That plays advocate for the devil on this one.
Good.
Why do you want to advocate for the devil? Can't we just say the other side of the coin?
They are not on the same coin. Go ahead, bro.
Oh! Give him that thunder back, dude.
Dude, he took it when he punched me in the face 8 years ago.
I did.
What would you say about saying, oh my word?
What do you mean?
So like, instead of saying, oh my God, There are a lot of people who say, "Oh my word."
I think that would be a lot better.
I think that's better. Yeah, because you're
Okay.
you're not directly saying.
So here's where the insufferable part comes in.
here
This
it
is where I'm being a Karen. I'm being very annoying right now. Okay. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
Yeah, that's his word, not my word.
What do you mean?
Oh, my word is not talking about the Bible.
Yeah.
So if I were to say "Oh God" instead of "Oh my God," would it be different?
No, because there's only one God. There's a lot of words.
Right, but I could refer to many different gods, lowercase that G, because
Well, sure, you could. Yes, and that's why I said overtly. That's why, since it's a hard issue, I'm not going to say saying "Oh my God" is sinful.
I think
Right.
it goes
But-
back to the stumbling block thing. If you saying "Oh my God" or "Oh God" about something, it really just depends on. In that case, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to be a bad witness.
sure.
So I'm thinking whether it is either one of those two versions, mine or lowercase g, it all is going to have that. We all are culturally, we're all looking at, oh, God, that God. When I say God, you immediately think of that, regardless of your affiliation. That's what you're going to think of.
I warned you it was going to be an insufferable line of
Yeah.
questioning.
So I'm giving you a sufferable answer by saying, just don't say it. That's my opinion. Is just don't say it.
Right. And that's what I was trying to put the point across, man, is that I could twist, any exclamation, "Oh my goodness, all good things come from God, he is goodness."
I see what you're
my
saying, yeah.
word, okay, God is the word, oh my God, and I could say it all. And I would say, okay, what at the end of the day, what is the name of God? Is it I am? Is it Yahweh? Is it God? Is it Lord? Because in the Hebrew, did they say God or did they say something else? So, that's what I was saying. Is the word intrinsically wrong to take
No. I think
you
in
should
an
just
exclamation?
No, it's
but
not.
around other people who might say this isn't exactly
I think when it comes to
respectful.
that, and I'm probably about to bother some people, but I do think there's some bottles of Get Over at Walgreens on sale if you need to.
That's right, next to the
When-
diapers.
The Bible says,
Adult.
"Do not let unwholesome or unseemly talk come out of your mouths or filthy language." We need to. Modern curse words were not what Paul or John had in mind, or James when he said that.
Right.
So it is not the words in and of themselves that are sinful. They're just words.
It's the meaning.
They're just words.
Yeah.
But when it says "do not let any unwholesome, filthy language come up from your mouth," there is a type of. It's actually how Paul bases his argument for how men and women are supposed to dress in 1 Corinthians. Instead of saying, "Get out a measuring rod and make sure it's this long, and if it's this long, it's considered a skirt, and if it's this long, it's considered a kilt." It's culturally, what is unseemly?
Right.
What is unwholesome, right? It's not that, I did a lesson on cursing one time, and or there was a lot of Southerners in it, so I said cussing.
I remember that one. That was
It's
fun.
not the words in themselves; those are just words. Don't let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but instead use what is beneficial for building up the individual.
Right.
Okay, well, that eliminates a lot. Okay, well, do not use the Lord's name in vain. Okay, well, that eliminates a lot. Do not take every thought captive. So the whole "what just slipped out" is not an excuse.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's not an excuse because it says
And from the abundance of or overflow of the heart.
yeah, man speaks, exactly.
speaks.
So it's not intrinsically in and of themselves. It's what comes of them. And that's why I would say, if we're going to err on the side of caution, I would rather err on, let's speak to God, not speak pretending to speak to God. But, and like I said, I've been guilty of it. That's why I quit saying all the time when I got angry, "God bless." I quit doing it because I'm like, all right, I'm very clearly not really asking God to bless anything. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I stand on that one. We could probably do a whole episode on language.
I was about to
With
say
that-
it'd be
on
kind
language.
of fun. Maybe like either next week or another week we do the
the James, like you said.
do the cussing thing. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Cussing.
I think
Is
Talking
it
about
C-U-S-S-I-N?
because I've got more
apostrophe. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a lot more advocation to do on when it comes to that.
Oh, yeah.
Because I mean, okay, the reason I feel like it's so important if you're going to talk about something to argue both sides to
Oh,
get
absolutely,
the whole
yes.
thing.
Yes.
So that's
And-
what I'm very good at playing
Me
devil's
too.
advocate when it
Well,
comes
to lead into it, since we're
Can we
probably
call
going to do
it
it next
Karen's advocate?
Huh?
Can we call it Karen's advocate?
week. No.
No.
But you can come up with a better...
I will research.
You
that
have
for
until next week.
All right.
I would say, I think that'd be a fun one. You know, because one of the things I said, and I would continue to say, is there are things that I would call Hunter that I would not call insecure 14-year-old
right.
youth boy, because he would not take it the same way.
Right.
Even though it probably isn't unwholesome, unseemly, anything like that, it is due to do not let any unwholesome talk coming out, comma, but instead what is beneficial for building up the individual at the time. So, I mean, I do think there's an element of that as well.
Yeah. So
Go
to
ahead.
recap,
Yeah. Let's recap.
to recap our episode today, honor and integrity. My dad used to say all the time, a man is only as good as his word.
Your father is an awesome man because of that, by the way.
Man is only as good as his word. In other words, do you honor your word? Do you make good on your word? Do you keep your word? My uncle, I messed around with my uncle a lot. He'd bring over a candy bag every week, and he let us pick one piece of candy out of the candy bag every week. And I would just pretend, and he knew I was going to do it every week because I would always take like 2 or 3. And I would just have one behind my back, and he was just like, and we knew it was a joke, but he still said every time, it's important that even if I didn't know that you had that candy, that you would still put it back, because that is what integrity is. Because he said, Hunter, I don't keep a log of the candy I go and buy. I don't know what all I have in that bag. Mm-hmm. You could, and he made the point clear, you could very easily steal candy out of that bag and take more than what I said, and I would never know. But I don't expect you to, because I know that you have integrity. Mm. And that is doing what is right when there is no downfall, when there is no disadvantage.
Nice.
Right, right. And so honor and integrity, I think, go hand in hand in that, and that you can be an honorable man or an honorable person by pondering the path set before you, keeping your eyes straight. I will not veer to the left. In fact, that first verse says, do not even look to the left or to the right, but set your eyes before you, ponder the steps you take, and do what is right over what you feel or what anybody else is doing. And I feel like, to me, that is what encompasses honor. And that also goes to showing honor, doing what is right. Even if I don't respect my parents, I will still show them respect because I know that's what is right.
And final recap on that. In that honor, Peter wrote at the end of that verse, honor the emperor.
Yep.
Well, the emperor ended up killing Peter indirectly because Peter disobeyed the emperor. So when Peter disobeyed the emperor, did he dishonor him? No. Peter did honor the emperor in the bounds for which the emperor was to operate.
Right.
But when it came between honoring God or honoring the emperor, obeying the emperor, the answer was obeying God. That's not dishonorable to the emperor. Peter still honored. Peter wrote to other Christians, commanded them to honor the emperor. That would eventually have Peter put to death.
Yep.
When Peter disobeyed the emperor, or disobeyed the council, and the Jewish council in the Acts chapter 5, it wasn't in the spirit of rebellion. It was to obey God.
We must obey God over man.
Right. So the honor due, Peter didn't become dishonorable that day. He was honoring them in the bounds that God created for them to operate and obeyed God rather than man.
Is that Acts 5:25?
It's Acts 5, and we can go with 25 because I don't remember. So
It's Acts 5 something if you want to look it up.
someone put it in the comment section just to make them know.
That's
All right. Well, guys, if you have any questions, if you like what you hear, please find us on YouTube at Point Taken Christian Podcast. Make sure to like it, subscribe it, comment, tell us what you think, give us your questions. And until then, we'll see you next week.
deuces.